nature of a carp angler's joy is a subtle quality. It cannot be adequately expressed in written characters, nor is it expressed by the mere catching of fish. Dragonflies come into it, and flowers and the summer sunshine, and there's magic too.
Bonjour!
Bonjour, ça va?
Ça va bien, merci. This is great.
This is the story of 5 anglers' journey to carp fishing success. The anglers have travelled into deepest France in search of monster carp. But what they don't know is that they'll be competing for a fantastic trophy for the biggest fish of the trip. After the long, arduous journey, they are all keen to stretch their legs and have a good look round.
It's a pleasant looking lake. Very nice.
Like a carp lake, isn't it, really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Nick Hellier is a well-respected full-time carp angler, recognised for his tactical approach to carp fishing. The other anglers will struggle to outsmart the master tactician on this particular trip.
Is fishing from this area going to be called Peg 1 then, is that?
Yeah, this area here, to the island and then down with the Peg.
Although Pete Carson is the youngest member of the group, he still has a great number of carp angling years behind him. This enthusiastic and thinking angler will probably set off at a fast pace, but will he last the duration?
I think it's also worth fishing where it drops off,
Yeah, of course.
because it drops off from around 1.8 metres or so, around, 6 feet, down to about 12 or 14 feet.
Simon Bond is the type of angler that relishes a challenge, and although this is only supposed to be a friendly contest, he'd like to set some early high standards and finish the trip in pole position. This truly innovative angler will have to pull out all the stops to stay in front of this field.
Yeah, you can't, from where you are anyway, you can't fish this end of the island anyway.
Mark Hutchinson is a man well recognised for his ability of being able to cast to the horizon. Mark's long casting technique might come in handy if the fish start to feel the pressure and move out at long range.
What about the margins of that big tree down there then?
I did hear, so when I moved around into this guy, I did hear a couple of fish crack off that tree, but I tried to bait there, but no good.
No good, no.
Well, tell you what, I lost something, but I think it just it.
Former British record holder Lee Jackson is the most experienced out of the group. Lee understands pretty much all there is to know about carp fishing, but will his experience see him take the lead over the other anglers? The competing anglers have now had a good look round and seem a little nervous about getting the right swim out of the draw.
Right then, shall we show them what we're playing for the spirit of carp fishing?
Oh yes, planning on making it a bit more interesting for you guys. It's a friendly competition, but it's something worth winning. We're going to feed us.
Yeah.
I can promise that.
Ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Go. The largest carp we catch, if anything as heavy as this, we're going to do all right.
Excellent.
Oh, superb.
Yeah, he's lovely.
So where did this come from? It's actually donated by Daniel, who runs the lake and the club. So we mentioned what we were going to do for the video, and as you know, he's always very helpful when we come out here on trips anyway. So he's donated it to us. It's fantastic, isn't it?
What a clean bit. Right, let's get down to business.
Should we have a look on here where we're going to mark the areas out? So
Number them.
Right. The spirit of all friendly competition. There's going to be a draw for pegs. What we've actually done, is we just had a walk round before, we looked at some areas that we're fishing and we're basically separating the lake into certain areas to fish. That'll be from the initial off anyway, and we'll draw for those pegs. I'll put the map round going the same way the lake is. Area 1 effectively starts just up here. So you've got from here, the corner of this island, all the way along here. Area 2 is this here, so it's the end of this island here, and along to the bar to where that white sign was that we showed you when we walked round. So if you draw a line there, up to the bar, and along to the end of the island, and that's area 2.
Slim pickings.
Area 3 is from here, so take a line across there,
island.
taking in
The end of that island.
the end of that island and drawing a line there across from the middle point of that island where the overhanging tree is up to
That corner.
that bit there, where the end of area 2 there. Area 4 is effectively from either side of that fallen tree coming out to 2/3 the way along that island,
Okay.
and then up to the point of the sign we discussed. So that's area 4. And then area 5 is the rest of the bottom end of the lake, and you can fish it from either side. You can fish it from the point here, you can fish it from over here, you can fish it from up here, but that is area 5.
Okay.
Includes the back bay here and the silty bit at the bottom as well.
So we'll pull the names of the anglers out of the hat.
I've got numbers.
It's numbers, it's a watercraft draw, so whoever draws the lowest number will have first choice of area,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so forth.
Number 1 first out.
Who gets first draw then?
You do. We're going to work our way around. I don't mind being last.
I reckon he's folded that one just the same.
Don't open it yet. We'll open them together.
He knows he's got number 1, that he can tell that. I haven't got number 1, I doubt that. My luck's never that good. I'm a good angler, not a lucky one.
Make sure you give me the right one, right? If it's a dodgy one.
Right.
I'll be really upset if that's number 1. Number 1.
Can't believe it. Number 5, the one I didn't want.
Number 3.
I gave you the right one then, didn't I?
Number 4, we got 5. I'll tell you what we got was.
Decisions.
What you got?
3.
I'll take 4.
4, Simon, can we sign that on there? 4 is Mr. Bond.
Chucking.
Jacko,
I'll go for 1.
Pete. Me next, 4. I'm going to have to go number 3. Ugh. That leaves me, number 5.
Do you want to mention a little bit about that?
Oh yes. And to make it more interesting, just so everybody knows what's going on, whoever's leading the competition will get to wear that.
Has to wear the deer camo.
Yeah.
So
Don't
everyone,
get shot.
So everybody knows who's leading.
it's quite impressive.
I've got
That is,
that
wearing
now.
that.
Is that the number of fish or the biggest fish?
Can you
That's the
imagine?
biggest fish.
What's the
Whoever's
biggest
leading,
fish? Whoever's
at any
leading is
stage
wearing
gets to wear
this.
that.
Yeah, so if you had a fish at 17 pounds, you'd be wearing it, wouldn't you? Because you'd be in the lead. First fish.
Right, we get some juicy swims here.
Yeah, I think we forget about it.
I'm going to put this on here for now.
I pulled out first and drew last. There's your luck, eh? It can only get better from now on.
Rubbered it.
A little bit of luck.
That was funny when you said earlier I'm always last up the draw.
Oh, I am.
Drop your gear off first. Yeah. Just drive.
It's been a long day for the 5 anglers, but they are all keen to get set up before dark and bait their swims ready for when the competition starts early the following morning. Lee Jackson hooks the first fish only a couple of hours after putting his rods out at the start of day 1. It's only a grass carp, but a powerful fish all the same. There are several different species of fish in this particular lake, which adds to the wonder of what's going to be caught next. But what the guys are really after are the large common and mirror carp that reach huge weights of up to 70 pounds.
I don't know why people don't like them.
I don't know.
They you know.
They're different. They fight hard.
Yeah. Nice reels these, Si. No, I don't.
Well done. That's a nice one.
Yep.
Good size, isn't it?
Yeah, good. You got a mat?
Indeed.
There you go. Not what we come here for, but welcome all the same. It's quite heavy.
Alright, thanks.
As the morning sun begins to rise higher and higher into the summer sky, a few fish begin to move closer to the shallows on the island's marginal ledge, and Pete Castle starts to pick up a few fish.
Been quite a few fish showing down here now, especially early this morning. Just nicked in the side there, a single tiger nut. I've just like bitten it in half, just to add a little bit more traction. And there are some, just move out a little bit so I can lift it up without lifting it out too far. There are some cracking scaly mirrors in here. I'm well chuffed with that.
Carp anglers often try to picture what is going on under the water and try to understand what different bait and rig tactics mean to the fish.
Right, you come to a lake for the very first time. It's quite important to know a little bit about the features, find the depths, and you find little sort of gravel humps and little deep holes and things like that, because it will all be relevant to you know, where the fish are on any one occasion. What you've got to bear in mind is like the water temperature varies throughout the depths of water. So like in the warmest part of the day you might find the fish up on the shallower bits, up 4 foot, 5 foot deep, whereas when it cools down of the evening they tend to sort of go down and maybe fish be in the deeper bits. So what I've actually done here, I spent about 2 hours at the start of the trip sort of having a little plumb around. There's a big main bar that runs along the centre of the lake, but it's quite long range from this swim. It's more sort of reachable from where Mark is on the other side. However, I can just about get the sort of drop off of the bar. And out this area, out to the right, I mean that's the top spot for grass carp. There's a like shallow hump that's around about 5 foot deep, and the other area has been out by the island. I mean islands are an obvious feature. Fish are going to sort of hug the margins of an island, much the same they hug the near bank. Albeit I haven't seen no fish real sort of close in on this lake. So let's just sort of show you where that hump is. I can remember roughly where it is. It's quite big, I say it's I Always fill my lead down, feel it go donk as it hits the bottom. I think that's around about spot on. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 foot deep. That's spot on it. And obviously, use that as a visual marker for. I've been leaving it out there for, quite a while, and sort of baiting up round it. I've been baiting with boilies. Been putting a bit of spod mix out and baiting with boilies also. This time of year, the fish have just finished spawning, and there's a good chance they're going to sort of look out for a nice meal of boilies. So we get the throwing stick and put a few more baits around that. It's quite unusual, my old throwing stick. It's actually made out of the exhaust pipe of a helicopter. It's made of some sort of titanium, so it's quite light in weight. And being made of metal, I can't sort of tread on it and break it. A tendency for the baits to break up sometimes, so just wet the inside of the stick. Come on the grass, Carp. That should do. Don't give them too many. But you can see that's like 5 foot deep on that hump. Draw it in a little bit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's right down to 12 foot. So therefore, if the float was a little bit further, so during the daytime, fishing on the shallower water, 4 or 5 foot, as it gets towards darkness, bringing them back this way a little bit, fishing in the deeper stuff. Right, now we've shown you the spot, let's get it back out there and get a rod on it. Just check the baits are okay. Always have a little look at the hook point as well. That's one of the most important aspects of fishing, because if that thing's not sharp, then you're not going to hook anything. It's all right. Always feel that lead down through the water, just feel that little reassuring donk as it hits the bottom. It's not particularly weedy here, but if you fish on a weedy lake, sometimes feeling the lead down, you feel it lock up straight away, and you know it's presented on top of the weed, right, in a useless position, in other words. Right, catch me that orange hat.
Nick's trying his hand at a bit of stalking. He's seen the fish moving in a secluded area and has decided to give it a go for a few hours whilst things are quiet in front of his swim. Pete's run of fish from the shallow island ledge seems to have continued and has resulted in him taking the leader's hat with his cracking 39-pound mirror. Nick's stalking technique has paid off, but is it the big fish he's been after to take him into the lead?
Yeah, this is where caviar comes from. Loads of different species of them. This is the first one of the trip. He's 35 pound, maybe a bit bigger. The scrap was just mental, very unsturgeon like. Usually they jump and run around. This was just like a real big carp, real slow, taking line. Yeah, swam away of his own accord. Everybody's happy, apart from me.
Mark has started to pick up a few fish from the deeper water as the hot day begins to cool.
It's a nice goldfish for you. Not a big fish, but a very pretty fish, I think you'll think. Beautiful. Everyone is £30, that'd be very nice.
The summer evening is almost over. The rosy light fades from the trees and the voices of the birds are ceasing. There has been quite a few fish caught by the anglers on the first day, but no one's yet got hold of any of the real whackers that lurk in the murky dark depths. All the guys have had a successful night. Pete's still holding on to the lead, but Nick has started to catch a few more fish from the other end of the lake.
No, don't do that. Come to Daddy. He's done. Might be a 30.
Nice one. Yeah, good man.
Nice one, mate. See the big kicker, and half make a difference. Everyone keeps doing these little tiny shrink tube kickers, and the bigger they are, the better it works.
Yeah.
On the Sone and that, I use a size 4 with a length of a kicker, like twice the length of the hook. It looks ridiculous, but it absolutely nails them every time.
That's right in the centre, isn't it?
Size 8 wide gate, best hook in the world.
Lee's into yet another fish. It seems that his accurate baiting technique is starting to pay off.
I've never been. Look at it. Savage. Funny old fight, isn't it? No, it's good. 30, I think. Come to Daddy. Yeah. Hey! Good angling.
Very good. No, definitely, that was good. There's something endearing about them old warriors sometimes, isn't there? You know?
I spent my life fishing for them, Pete.
Yeah.
You know, I don't fish for big carp anymore just because so many people are at it. And even when I do come abroad, I still fish for these old, you know, I search out the old ones. They mean a lot. You know, they're a bit battle scarred and bruised and... Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah. Sling off, isn't it?
34 pound
Oh, wow.
in the sling. So he's going to be 33.
Nice one, Nick. That's nice, that.
Yeah, he's a nice one.
As you say, fishing for them type of fish in England, I've seen a few shots of yours in the mags that look like that. Old warriors.
Proper uns. Yeah, he's been battered and bruised in his past, but that just makes him all the more endearing. dear old carp. It's important in these temperatures, obviously, to keep them as lubricated as you can.
A carp angler is the type of person that looks for new ideas, tries them out when they come to him, and watches closely to see their effect. The mark of all the best carp anglers is the power of attention to detail.
So you've not been putting much bait out then, no? You've sort of been fishing for a bite at a time?
Yeah, pretty much fishing for a bite at a time. I've been putting a little bit of... I'll show you a mix in a minute. I've just been doing a pretty basic mix, spod mix if you like. Like a jar of dynamite hem, quarter of a jar of crushed tiger. Obviously, you don't want too much crushed tiger, you know what you can do with a swim. A little bit of powder and a few liquids, mainly using the powder to make sure it gets to the bottom rather than suspended in the water column. You know, these sort of fish, they come through. When they do come through, they come in numbers. I don't want to confuse them. I want them to know exactly where the food is. Put them straight down to it. I'm just going to put a stick mix together and get myself ready for the evening. So all I'm doing, all I started with, this is the bait I'm using for this trip, a bait that I put together. I mean, obviously I've been using this for a long time, the meaty ground bait.
Yeah, fantastic one.
Yeah, I mean, I've caught a lot of carp on it over the years, and so has a lot of other people now. You know, it's a fantastic attractor. And now we've got the boilie, just as good in my eyes. I've been using it. I use it on the hard lakes in England, same as I use it here. I mean, this isn't a hard lake at times because it can be. And to start off with, I've got my big quarter plunger. I've just put a few boilies in the bucket, 10 millers. They got a lovely texture. They're literally just banging them down with the plunger.
Pulping it up like that.
Pulping it up, getting to a nice consistency. Really, because they're so moist anyway, they're a lovely rich bait. I don't really need to add many liquids. I could squeeze it like that and almost back to paste. You know, it's nice like that. Obviously, if I compressed it like that in a stick form, it'd stay together just like a boilie would if you repressed it. So I'll mix it up a little bit. Very basic. I'll just put a handful of them. A little bit of the amino black ground bait, another one everybody knows about, another fantastic. I always carry it with me. I use it for so many things, not just stick mix, but like I said, mixing with me hemp to keep all the juices together and that. And in England, on the hard clear waters, I use it to actively darken the mix for fish that are really wary and might otherwise be scared of bright little piles of bait.
Darken it off a bit.
So I use a bit of that, mixing him in, and this will just ensure that my hook. I mean, I ain't going to preach about the benefits of the stick. It's been written about and spoken about so many times now. All I want this to do, basically I'm going to make a nice stick, loads of attraction in this. I'm going to boost it with some of the meaty marine liquids. It's got high levels, a lot in its makeup of liquid liver, as we know, a fantastic attractor, something that you just can't overdo. I'll be using quite a bit of this in here. I want a strong food signal. These fish are coming through. They're big fish, as we know with the heat. They've spawned in the last week. There's still very big fish out there, but I want them to be attracted. I want aggressively, if you like. People have used that word a lot. I want to aggressively pull them down to the hook bait. I don't want them passing it by. So I'll be using a bit more liquid, but basically I'll add the liquid. I'm very liberal with it. Again, like I said, it's not something you can overdo. I'm a big fan of it.
That doesn't break the PVA down then, I don't know.
No, it won't affect the PVA. There's no water in that at all. So as you can see now, that's already darkening up nice, looking much more like the part. Now obviously that's still all together very mushy. That's nice. I want something to force it apart. Normally I'd use a pellet, as pellet soaks in water will help push the mix apart, but we haven't got that. What we've got instead, I've got some hemp at the bottom. So I'll mix a handful of that in. So that's pretty much my mix. It's quite stodgy. I could spod that as well as use it in my stick. Always need a nice firm base.
You like to compress it quite tight then?
I do, yeah. I mean, this isn't so critical here. It's in England, the compression and everything else has got a lot to do with the way it melts down around the hook link. Presentations, everything. Here, like I said, God, it's hot. These fish are coming through. that's still nice. It's quite a dense mix, this.
Yeah.
It's actually turned out to be a little bit pasty, if you like, but I haven't got a problem with that. We're in shallow, very warm water. This will break down very quickly once on the bottom. Your classic little stick.
That's nice, isn't it? Really tidy.
Long bait and needle. Feed it through, always away from the knots.
Yeah.
Because even in warm water, the knots do tend to grab, causing clogging of the PVA. Thread it down onto the hook link like that. Ease the hook into the ends. Obviously the hook's completely protected. There's a little bit of bottom debris out there. Not a lot. Very, like I said, it's quite a clean shelf on the island margin. But there
it's
is
nice to have that security.
Yeah,
as well.
It's security, exactly. You know, if it's a fish, you know, like I said, I'm fishing here possibly for a 70-pounder.
Yeah.
The last thing I want it to come and do is to come in with a few fish either side of it, try to pick the hook bait up, get fouled by a little bit of bottom weed, a little bit of silkweed or something, drop it and go to the next thing, and a fish whips in and picks it up in its place. So I want everything perfect.
Yeah.
That gives a nice bit of casting weight. On the end, I just mount a single 15mm boilie.
I quite like using sticks like that as well when you are fishing tight to an island, because if you clip them leaves on the way in,
yeah, exactly.
you're not paranoid, are you, that
No,
you've caught anything? You just think, well,
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, normally, yeah, it has a habit of whipping the hook bait off, doesn't it? You know, and this, you know, if the lead hits the bottom, that there's no way you've grabbed the leaf. It's perfect. There you go, simplicity itself. All ready to mount onto the rig that I'm using. Favourite IS rods. 15-pound TFG line straight through to a TFG clear leader.
Yeah.
This is a little green tint and a bit of silkweed on the bottom. I've coloured that slightly with one of the pens to disguise it slightly. Like I said, these are hard fish for carp and they are really big carp. So although you may think, well, you know, you don't need to be that fussy about camouflaging your end tackle, I'd rather not take the risk. So there you go, all ready to cast out.
nice one.
Simple, easy, and I'm sure that'll get me a bite tonight.
Well, it's not fighting very much. Had a koi earlier, mind you, that did similar. But I was on a real big fast first run, but oh, hang on, it's suddenly woken up. Another grass carp. Well, the grass carp has suddenly come on the feed. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Oh! Lost it.
Look at it. £30 grass carp. Whoa. I'll just get it on the mat and you can do a little bit of film. It's a big one. It is a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. Oh, it's £40. Getting on for it. Mate, that is big. Oh. There's a big old grass carp. Hey, Si! 42 and a half! Just look at it, look. That's a big grass carp. That is a big grass carp.
Just have to find Nick. I think he's going to wear this hat. I've heard of a 42 pounder.
It's a serpent. It was absolutely massive.
This is officially yours, your 42 pounder. Well
Very
done,
much.
mate.
I'll wear it with shame. I'll wear it like that so no one can see it's me.
Nick is still in the lead at the start of day 3 with a large grass carp he caught yesterday evening. But all the anglers are still catching, and he'll have to keep on trying if he's going to keep hold of the leader's hat.
I think this is a good fish, you know. It's like kicking up the vortexes, and I haven't even seen it yet. Normally a good indication. Yeah, it's a nice common. I don't think it's going to put me in the lead, but it's a nice fish. It comes up on the top. You can see, look, the lead setup's come up over the leader. Got this rod hooked over fairly, I'm not messing about with it. Starting to come closer and closer to the surface, so never mind. Big gulp of air, that normally stops them. Keep it coming then once you've got the momentum up. Nice one, I'm well pleased with that result.
Carp exercised the angler's patience as much as any fish, and Lee Jackson was put to the ultimate test when he went in search of monster carp back in the UK in 2002.
But what about in England, your biggest fish over there? You've had the British record before, then?
Yeah, that was I had the British record for about 18 months with a fish called 2-tone, which I chased that fish for something like 6 or 7 years. You know?
Really,
yeah,
you
real difficult lake. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, sort of lake. Sometimes, fortunately, I caught fish every season I was on there, but some of the lads, and it's nothing to do with angling ability because they're very good anglers. They go a season without a bite. It's just one of those places. And yeah, it's all come to an end for me on end of August, I think 2002, and I finally nailed it. As I say, new British record of £61.7.
Yeah, it was quite a good buzz when you got it in the net and that. Then
It was absolutely unbelievable. It was, it's real strange. I was, I don't know. It must have been about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had a real sort of severe line bite on one of my rods, and I sat around on the bed chair. I'm not kidding you. It was eerie. It was the thickest fog I've ever been in. You just couldn't see anything, and so much so that normally you can hear the nearby factories and the nearby motorway, but you just couldn't hear anything, and it was almost scary, And I sat there, made myself a cup of tea, and same rod I had the line bite on, off it went, And I had absolutely no idea what fish it was. I didn't even mind it. It was a small one or something like that, because of the weed, I didn't actually, let it sort of have any line. And at one stage, it went round to the, round in front of these reeds, round to the left. So I sort of jumped in the margins and sort of played it in. And at the point of netting it, as I say, because of the fog, it was, you couldn't even see things too clear. I could see that it was a mirror. And I had it in my mind, it was another one of the fish that we call Tom's Pet, a fish of around about £30. So
Yeah.
I couldn't see it that clearly. And when it came to lifting the net, I thought, hang on a minute, it's something wrong here. It's got some weed in it or whatever. And I got it to the edge and then got myself salted out, then put my head torch on, looked at the fish, and it still didn't dawn on me. And it was at the point of lifting the net again, this is really heavy. And I put it down, and then it,
You twigged.
It twigged. And having been after that fish for 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
it was, I let out a yelp that probably, had it not been for the fog, all of England would have heard, I think.
Going out.
It was absolutely mad. I sat down and I sacked the fish up. Took a little bit of time to sort of sat up there on cloud 9 for a little while,
Get your head round it.
Get my head round it, and then I, like you do, I texted a couple of mates and everything, and it was unbelievable. The next 2 hours.
Did you wait at that point then? Did
No.
you notice you hadn't waited?
No, I didn't wait. I sacked the fish up. To be honest with you, the British record thing was a little bit of a bonus because it didn't really worry me that
you was after
I
that
just
fish.
wanted that fish. If it had been £59, it would have been fine,
Yeah.
But it was absolutely mad. Like for the next 2 or 3 hours, my phone didn't stop ringing. I think the general carp world in England got to know how much I wanted to catch that fish, and I had sort of well wishers from all around the place. When I got to the shop, at one stage it got ridiculous. I had to switch to when my mates come down, weighed the fish, we've done the photographs. I thought I just got to turn this phone off. I can't stand it anymore. And I suppose the time from turning the phone on to turning it back on again, when I got on the motorway on the way back home, was about an hour at most. And I turned the phone on, and it just kept bleeping at messages and ringing, and when I actually looked at it, when it stopped bleeping, it had 52 messages received, and that's without all the ones I'd had earlier. And but then I got to the shop, and how the grapevine works in the UK is unbelievable. I had an email from Australia, fax from South Africa, as well as loads and loads of phone calls. The phone lines at the shop virtually jammed with people ringing up, But now, just a magic moment. And of course, that fish is still the British record, albeit now it's £64 5 ounces, I think.
Yeah, it's a big fish, isn't it? And you think it'll grow on to get bigger then?
It's difficult to say. I think with that fish, it depends on what time of year it comes out. I think if it gets caught in early season, like March, April, then there's a good chance it'd beat £64, beat the record again. But the more time, who knows? We never ever thought when it came out at £50 he got caught at £50 on the day of Princess Di's funeral, and that was the first ever £50 carp from Kent. And we never at that point, thought we'd grow on to make £60. Just a freak of nature, really. I mean, there's plenty. There's probably a few 60-pounders in this lake. I think apparently there's about 5 of them.
Yeah.
But in the UK, as you know, it's a fairly rare animal. It's the old wolf called.
Is that your phone?
The text, yeah, text.
Mark's got 2 fish on at once, and Pete's on his way to give him a hand. The first fish weighed 27 pounds, and the second is 33 pounds and 4 ounces. But Mark has actually caught a carp bigger than both of these fish on a previous trip, when he caught his personal best at 65 pounds and 6 ounces. Mark's into yet another fish. As darkness begins to fall on this very successful day for him, it looks like it could be one of the better fish he's been after.
Dirty honest. Somebody.
I think you're wearing the orange hat, Sunshine. 44. 44, 13.
Oh, 3 ounces out.
Big common as well. Very
Nice on Mark.
awesome fish.
At 44 pounds and 13 ounces, this fish gives him the leader's hat at the end of day 3.
Awesome.
That looks awesome, mate. Yeah.
That one's got a gold in it. Beauty. Just get it over this weed. Where's me at?
Okay, Hutch, got a little present for you.
It's mine to wear for a
Yours
bit.
to wear with pride.
I'll be wearing that with pride.